How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Davey on everything, and welcome back to the solo show. This is episode number 4. Thank you for coming out and checking it out. The first thing I'm going to do is plug our sponsor. If you guys are looking for any kind of smoking paraphernalia, go check out www.brokenglasssupply.ca. They got all kinds of great products and tons of stuff for any kind of smoking needs, so go check them out. Okay, in today's episode, there's a lot going on right now, guys, and I want to get into a few things that have been going on in the news. So, I mean, we've all seen the tragic events that have been happening in Maui. Maui's an island, and it basically is almost burned to the ground from the sounds of it. I think something like 2,200 homes have gone up, and I think probably close to 100 people have died so far, which is, pretty crazy. But the thing that I want to talk about with Maui is the conspiracy that's been going around on the internet that maybe this wasn't such a natural thing or such a accidental thing that happened. I don't know. I'm not sure what the current theory of how the fire started. I'm not sure how they're explaining it right now because I'm not that deep into the news about it, but I assume it's like a wildfire thing or somebody maybe lit a cigarette or whatever the hell it is, campfire gone wrong. But there is a conspiracy going around right now that the Maui fires are actually caused by direct energy weapons, I'm assuming via the government. So basically what the conspiracy is saying that the government has some kind of energy weapon that they're directly attacking the people of Maui with, causing these fires, causing people's houses to burn the fuck down. And I don't know how I feel about that because there are a lot of these theories that go around that, I know closer to COVID times, there was the food distribution facilities were getting burned down, the warehouses were getting burned down, and like chicken coops, large-scale chicken operations were also getting burned down, implying that they were making food shortages in the United States. That was one that was going around, and that, to me, was actually fairly believable. I mean, I'm not saying I totally believe it, but that one, to me, was more logical than this. I'm not sure what the gain would be from the government burning down houses in Hawaii, but, maybe it's some kind of testing ground for these weapons. Is that the theory? I'm not sure. This one seems a little far-fetched to me. But again, I don't know all the details, and I'm not even 100% sure. I don't even know 100% details of the full conspiracy, but it's just something I've been seeing a lot of. And if that was the case, that would be incredibly fucked up. Man, the government's done all kinds of fucked up shit. So, I wouldn't put it 100% past them. But, who fucking knows? We'll probably never know. But either way, it's tragic to see that many people's lives affected and that many houses burned down, especially in such a beautiful part of the world. And they didn't really have anywhere they could go. You know what I mean? Like, you're stuck on this island and things are burning up. Like, what do you do? How do you evacuate? And then Biden comes out and he offers a $700 one-time payment to help the people. That's better than nothing, but I'm not sure how far $700 goes when your entire house is burned down, and you're not going to get any kind of insurance money anytime soon, I'm sure. So, I think best case scenario is they should have probably set up, and they may have. Again, I'm an idiot, and I haven't really looked into this. I think best case scenario, they should have evacuated everybody and put them up in in some kind of a hotel paid for by the taxpayers. Would probably be better than a one-time payment. And just taking care of the people that way, I think that goes a lot farther than just throwing out $700 to the citizens. But either way, pretty shitty thing that happened. So, my all positive energy to the people of Maui. I hope they are able to get through this whole thing with the best of. I hope they're able to get through this whole thing with the best of luck, and people lost their lives and people lost their homes. So it's pretty shitty. But in other news, this Jake Paul, of course, is always in the news, or at least on the internet news, in the internet sphere of things that are happening. Jake Paul is always a topic of conversation. Of course, Jake Paul is pretty much dedicated to just boxing now and running and owning and operating his own fight league, which, you know what, you can talk shit all day about Jake Paul, but, he's actually doing a pretty cool thing. He's trying to unionize the fighters to allow mainly, I think MMA fighters, they kind of get a bad deal from the UFC, and I think he's basically trying to get fighters paid a little bit more money because, I have no hate on Dana White. I think he's built a pretty cool organization, but it doesn't seem like his fighters are getting paid all that much money. So Jake Paul's probably doing a good thing by unionizing them. I'm a big fan of unions myself. But I think so. He will be fighting Dylan Dennis, I think his name is, coming up soon. Ex-UFC fighter, turned internet personality. There's been a lot of I'm so sorry. I'm wrong about that. That's actually Logan Paul that will be fighting Dylan. But Jake Paul just beat our boy Nate Diaz in their boxing match recently. I mean, to me, it wasn't a surprising thing. Nate Diaz looked like he was in fucking terrible, god-awful shape. And, he's a little bit older than Jake Paul. And Jake Paul is, at this point, kind of a seasoned, not seasoned, but he's been basically training nonstop for the last few years. Boxing has become his life. So I really didn't think Nate Diaz was going to win that fight. And, again, you can talk shit on Jake Paul all you want because he's done a lot of clout chasing in his lifetime. But, the guy works his fucking ass off and he hustles and he's building something, which is pretty cool. What he's doing now is much better than his everyday bro vlogging days for sure. He's actually building something cool and productive and, I'm sure much more fulfilling than just talking shit on the internet and starting all kinds of fires and doing all kinds of stunts for clout. So, anyways, he beat Nate Diaz, another fight under his belt. He pretty much kind of has to carry his league at this point. I think at some point Jake Paul is going to have, enough capital behind him, enough reputation behind him that he'll be able to actually build a pretty cool boxing organization, and he'll probably get some good fighters. So I think there's a future in that for him. And he's definitely, say what you want, but I think he's saved boxing. Boxing was on a huge decline before this whole YouTube fighting situation. And if you kind of look at how well boxing is doing now, it's definitely on a up and up and up and up. And I think you can credit that very much towards Jake Paul and what he's done for boxing. So you can say what you want, but even Mike Tyson, I saw on video, was crediting Jake Paul for doing a lot for boxing. So that's pretty cool. But anyways, back to Logan Paul. Logan Paul will be, he's doing his WWE thing, and I think that's probably more suitable for him. He's this character, and he's able to play this almost villainous type of guy. So I think the WWE is good for him. But the guy obviously has been exposed for being a scammer. He scammed people out of a lot of money via his crypto scam. And he's coming back to fight this Dylan Dennis guy, ex-UFC fighter. Apparently not so respected in the MMA world anymore. Or maybe he never was, I'm not sure. But there's been a lot of shit talking going on between them. And I think Logan Paul has actually put out a cease and desist on him because this guy's basically on Twitter posting nonstop trolls on Logan Paul, which is, this is publicity for the fight. This is how you draw pay-per-view buyers to the fight. The Paul brothers historically been very good at it, so I'm not sure why Logan wouldn't want it. I guess maybe he's had his feelings hurt because dude's been basically posting pictures of Logan's fiance kissing other dudes and Leonardo and basically showing off her past to Twitter. So I think Logan's probably just has his feelings hurt. But suck it up because that is the world you're in. You're in the public eye and you're in the promotion game. So, and on top of that, I watched the Jake Paul Untold Netflix documentary, which is pretty good. Again, Logan Paul came off as just a cocky piece of shit, and that's his brother. So I mean, I don't know how he treats people that aren't his family. Probably not very good either. But and I saw that Jake Paul was on Impulsive, and Logan was all upset because they wouldn't allow him to bring one of his Prime bottles in. Prime is his beverage that he sells, and there was already drink sponsors for the event. They didn't want to have Logan Paul, who all cameras and eyes are going to be on Logan Paul at this event as well because he's Jake Paul's brother. They didn't want him bringing in his Prime bottle because there's beverage sponsors already. That's out of Jake's hands, I guess. And he was just kind of being sour and ridiculous about it. I mean, just go out and support your brother. He's got this big event, and he's about to he had this big fight and everything, and Logan was just being a little baby about it. So I think, at one time I probably had zero respect for either of them. I think I have almost zero respect for Logan Paul at this point still. But Jake Paul is, he's earned a couple notches in my books. He seems to be a very dedicated soul, and he's just trying to, I don't know, I think he's just doing passion projects more than anything. Obviously, he's making a shitload of money off this too, but I think he's putting that money back into his projects. So I don't know. We'll see where that goes. I think there's a bright future for Jake Paul in the fighting world, and I think he's going to do a lot of good for that world. So okay, so in other news, and this is not exactly like the freshest news, but Barstool Sports has been sold back to Dave Portnoy. I think the group is called Penn Company or Penn Group, and they had Barstool bets. They had their betting situation, and I'm drawing a blank on the name. Barstool Sportsbook, and they decided that they wanted to team up with ESPN and kind of rebrand the whole thing. So they ended up selling Barstool back to Dave for $1, I believe. And just a few years ago, he sold Barstool Sports for like $550 million total. They bought a certain amount of the company at one point, and then they ended up buying the rest of the company later on. And crazy deal, like $1, you get your company back. I'm pretty sure he's stoked because he kind of built that company from the ground up. So I'm sure he's pretty happy that he is able to reclaim his company. And but I was watching the video where he kind of announced it to his staff, and it's funny is like they announced it, and then the day after he shows up to the office and nobody's there. It's like 9-10 o'clock. Nobody showed up yet for work, and he's kind of like, what the fuck? He's like one day into re-owning his company, and just nobody's even coming in anymore. So I thought that was kind of funny, but I'm not exactly like a big Barstool fan. You know what I mean? I think they put out some cool content, and I like that they don't really censor their shit. They were censoring things more when they were bought out, but I think they're going to go back to the kind of freedom that they had before now, which is pretty cool. I'm all for any media company that is just kind of open and does their own thing and does what they want and doesn't really have to worry about shareholders or pleasing certain crowds of people. I like just the kind of the uncensored media, you know what I mean? I like that better. And I'm not, again, it's like we're not calling for a whole bunch of crazy shit to be said, but it's like, if you got something to say, let's hear it. I want to hear you say it. Speak your truth. I mean, don't say speak your truth. I fucking hate that term. But I mean, like, speak your mind. Say what you want to say. And, yeah, man, I think that makes for the best content. I think the reason why the internet and the content on the internet had done so well for, the last decade or so is because of that. And I think things used to be a lot better on the internet as far as like people speaking and saying what they want. Now we got all this censorship going on between YouTube and Twitch and Twitter and whoever else, Meta. So I think it would be cool to get back to a point where we're not so dependent on these massive platforms, and we can kind of get back to the point where the internet was just a Wild West, and you can say things and still be monetized. You know what I mean? That's where I want to be. I want people to speak their mind and say what they want to say and still make it monetizable. As long as it's not too extreme. We're not calling for violence. We're not advocating for, genocide and some crazy shit like that. Obviously, that kind of thing maybe shouldn't be monetized, but, comedy and people just having a good time and just kind of speaking out and, still being able to make money on the internet, I think that's the way to go. And I think we're moving back towards that. So I'm really hoping that's where we're going anyways. Okay, so as far as this podcast goes, I'm really hoping that we're able to get a normal episode out soon. Dan and I haven't been able to get together in a minute now, so I'm hoping that becomes a reality soon. But for now, I'm actually happy to be doing these solo episodes. I think I'm getting better at them. If you watch the first one compared to episode number 3, I think there was like a good difference between my comfortability and my ability to just go off and continue to talk. And I think this episode is going to turn out even better. That's my hope anyways. So I don't know. We're going to see. I'm going to keep plugging away on these until Dan and I can get things sorted out as far as recording goes. And who knows, if we're able to record one even, immediately after I record this one, then that'll probably come out first. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm really going to try and get this episode out sooner than later, because the problem is, like, I talk about things that are relevant in the news and in the world, and then sometimes I'm not able to edit them and put them out for, a week or more. And then, like, by the time they come out, the shit that I'm talking about is old news. So I don't want that to be the case, because I want to be able to clip these out and post them on TikTok and Instagram, and for them to still have some relevancy out there, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm aiming for. Obviously, I'm very busy, and, I still work full-time, so I'm still trying to work on that, guys. So everyone knows I'm a kind of a big Elon Musk fan. There's very few people that I can say that I'm a fan of, but Elon is, I hold him in high regards in my books. And, he's making all these crazy changes on Twitter. And, you know what I mean? I think let's just let's run with them and see where they go. But he plans on removing the block button in regards to tweets, at least, and accounts, but not for messages. You can still block people in the DMs, which I think is smart, because you don't want to have someone in the DMs harassing you if they can help it. But you also, I think it's actually pretty cool that they're removing the block button on accounts and tweets, because, people will block until they're kind of in their own echo chamber, right? They're only hearing the voices they want to hear. And I think that's dumb. Like, if you tweet something and maybe it's a little controversial or it's an opinion, you should, it makes sense to me that everybody can come on and give their opinion about it or tell you why you're wrong. Because, unfortunately, the public forum, as in, like, we used to have things like Speaker's Corner, and people would go down there and they would, publicly express their opinions. Like, Twitter is the public forum. It's where people go on to express their opinions about things. So, I think it's beneficial for society if we just kind of allow people to not only express their opinions freely and uncensored, but also allow the public to, tell them why they're wrong, or tell them why their opinion is stupid. Because if you're just going to stop people from telling you that you're wrong, or telling you that your opinion is dumb, well, guess what? You're always going to think that you're the smartest person in the room. You and your friends and your group and your community are always going to think they're right. And you know what? People don't ever get their feelings hurt, and I don't think that's a positive thing for society. And if you're willing to go and put your voice out there in the public, well, guess what? You're opening yourself to public scrutiny as well. So even on this podcast and on the clips that I post, if you got some shit to say, you think I'm an idiot, and you want to tell me that what I'm saying is wrong, I'm open for it. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And, like, that should kind of be the general idea with anybody that's posting in on a public, on the internet or in a public situation. Like, if you are willing to say some shit out to the world, you should be able to also accept the consequences of, the backlash you're going to get from that. So, and I don't mean that in a cancellation kind of way. I don't think people should be canceled for expressing their opinions. But, like, if you're going to go ahead and make a statement, be prepared for people to tell you that statement is incorrect. And that's kind of just how I feel about it in general. And, you know, I've had people comment on my shit all the time telling me how fucking dumb I am. And probably a lot of the times, it's probably true and it's probably right. So, I mean, it's how you learn, it's how you grow, man. If everyone's always telling you that you're right and you're perfect, like, guess what? You're going to grow up to be a sensitive baby, which is kind of what has kind of happened with the West, America, and Canada. You know, people have been told that they're special and you know, oh, you're right, and you know what I mean? Oh, it's okay, you're fine, like, don't listen to them. And guess what? People aren't used to being told that they're wrong, and it's made a lot of people very, very sensitive. And I think for us to build a better world and have a better future, that can't be a thing. You got to be able to take the punches. You got to be able to take your lumps, people, because I'm telling you, like, it hurts in the moment, but it just opens you up for growth. So I think that, I think on Elon's part, that's a cool thing. And I think a lot of people don't understand it. They just think maybe he's fucking with Twitter because he can. But I kind of think I see what he's doing. And I hope, anyways, I'm right about that. Alrighty, guys, I'm going to wrap this episode up here. This has been episode 24 of the Everything is Broken podcast, the solo show with your boy Davey on everything. Thank you so much for coming and checking it out. If you could like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. Also, check us out on TikTok. You can see clips from the old episodes, and maybe that'll get you to go ahead and you see a clip you like. All right, I'll go watch the episode. So that would be cool if you did that too. Again, check out our sponsor, www.brokenglasssupply.ca. They only ship to Canada, but you know, go check them out anyways. They have some cool stuff. So until next time, guys, I'm Davey on everything. Have yourself a good day.
Big G's, all design on my jacket. Work hard, now I'm changing my bracket. Talk tough, we ain't hear that racket. Dogs came in, you know how to stack it. Don't take it wrong, but I'ma need my ends though. I got tigers on my chest like Kenzo. Rail came, yeah, he putting that Benz though. Carol's here, man, you know you stay 10 toes. Big dog, man, you know I ain't worried. Bent up, so I'm talking real slurry. Got a blast, bro, I'm always in a hurry. Big Drake, shooting dirty like Curry. Take a yerky, ain't know he stay passed up. You don't catch him late night, do you ass out? No, real, how to put it E-class up. They like, X nigga, how you take the fast ride? 2018, it was me and Big